Welcome back, everyone. Okay, I am absolutely thrilled about today's explainer because we're going to solve a linguistic paradox that literally trips up native speakers and English learners alike. Today, we're looking at two words that mean the exact same thing, yet they behave completely differently in English grammar. If you've ever stared at a blank screen wondering whether you should type although or despite, you are definitely in the right place. We're going to decode the secret to using these perfectly every single time. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for mastering this topic today. 1. Same meaning, different rules. 2. Conjunctions, hero and action. 3. Prepositions, no actions allowed. 4. The ultimate exam traps. 5. The magic bridge. And finally 6. Your visual cheat sheet. By the end of this, you'll never mix these up again, for sure. All right, kicking things off with section 1. Same meaning, different rules. Now, you might be wondering why exam creators literally love to use these words to trap people. Well, look at words like even though and in spite of. They share the exact same meaning, right? They both express a contrast, kind of like saying nevertheless. But, and this is a massive but, their grammatical structure is completely different. Their grammatical DNA dictates exactly how the rest of the sentence has to be built. You can pick either word to express your idea, but the second you make that choice, you are locked into its specific set of structural rules. No backing out. So what does this all mean? The secret to this entire puzzle boils down to one simple rule of thumb. Whenever you use these words, you basically have to play detective and hunt down two things in your sentence, the hero and the action. The hero is just our fun, conversational way of saying the subject, who or what the sentence is actually about. And the action is the predicate, what that hero is doing or maybe what state they're in. Keep this hero and action concept right in your back pocket because it is absolutely crucial for everything we're about to cover. Moving right along to section 2, conjunctions, hero and action. Okay, so this first major category of words, the conjunctions, is strictly 100% married to the concept we just talked about. The golden rule here, these words always demand a full sentence. Let me repeat that, always. You absolutely must have a hero and an action immediately after them. Without that dynamic duo, these conjunctions just can't function. The whole sentence will literally collapse. Now, the three main conjunctions in this family are although, even though, and though. They all follow that strict hero plus action rule we just established, but they do have these subtle little nuances and tone. Although is kind of your classic neutral choice, perfect for everyday writing. Even though, well, that packs a much bigger emotional punch. It's stronger and really highlights a deeper contrast. And then though is much more casual, very conversational, which actually means it's quite rare to see it tested on formal exams. Let's actually see this in action. Take a look at this. Although the weather was terrible, we went for a walk. See what's happening right after our conjunction, although? We instantly hit our hero, the weather. And right next to it, boom, our action, was. Hero plus action, it's a perfect, totally complete clause. Let's build on this with another example. Even though he studied hard, he failed the exam. Again, the pattern is just staring right at us. Right after even though, we've got our hero, he, and our action, studied. Honestly, it's almost mathematical in its consistency. Conjunction, hero, action. Every single time. You can't mess it up if you just follow the formula. All right, on to section 3. Prepositions. No actions allowed. Now I need you to brace yourselves for this one, because we are leaving conjunctions behind and flipping the rules completely upside down. The rule for prepositions is the exact opposite of what we just learned. Never use a full sentence. Seriously, there are absolutely zero actions allowed here. These prepositions actively reject the whole hero plus action formula. If you drop a verb directly after these words, you have officially broken the rule. So the two big prepositions we're dealing with today are despite and in spite of. Since they totally reject full sentences, they legally only allow 3 strict categories of words to follow them. 1, you can use a noun, like weather or rain. 2, you can use a pronoun, like everything or this. Or 3, you can use a gerund. And if you're thinking, what's a gerund? It's just a verb ending in ing that basically acts like a noun. And that's the whole shebang. Those are literally your only 3 options. Now, what's really interesting is how this compares to our earlier example. Despite the terrible weather, we went for a walk. Notice exactly what comes after despite. It's the terrible weather. That is just a noun phrase, right? There is zero action happening here. There's no was or is. It's just a static fact sitting there. Moving on, here is our second allowed category, pronouns. In spite of everything, he stayed calm. In this one, the word everything steps in perfectly as our pronoun placeholder. And again, take note of the total absence of any action verb directly following that preposition phrase. It is completely static. And finally, let's look at our third allowed category. Despite feeling ill, she went to work. Look, if you absolutely need to convey a sort of action-like concept, you have to stick an ing onto the end of the verb to create that gerund. Here, feeling perfectly satisfies the preposition rule. You absolutely couldn't say, despite she felt ill, because that gives us a hero and an action. But despite feeling ill works beautifully, hits the nail right on the head. Okay, Section 4, the ultimate exam traps. So here's the deal. Exam creators, they know exactly where students get confused, and they love setting up little traps to catch you off guard. Well, trap number 1 is a biggie. I need you to permanently erase this phrase from your vocabulary right now. Never, ever write or say despite of. Guys, it does not exist in standard English. No way. Test makers love to sneak despite of into multiple choice options because it sounds so suspiciously similar to in spite of. Do not fall for it. Despite is a lone wolf. It stands completely by itself. And trap number 2, it's all about the number 3. The phrase in spite of is always exactly 3 words. No more, no less. You definitely cannot smash it together and say in spite of as 2 words, and you absolutely cannot just say in spite. It's a strict package deal of 3 words. Always count them out in your head. In spite of. Easy as that. All right, let's talk about Section 5, the magic bridge. So you might be asking, what happens if you find yourself backed into a grammatical corner? Like you really, really want to use the word despite, but you've already built a full sentence with a hero and an action. Well, I have a cheat code for you. This magic bridge is the phrase, the fact that. When you squeeze the fact that immediately after a strict preposition like despite or in spite of, it instantly transforms that preposition into a conjunction. And what do conjunctions allow? That's right, our good old friends, the hero and the action. Check this out to see the transformation in real time. On the strict preposition side, we've got despite the terrible weather, followed by just a noun. Nothing crazy. But by dropping in our magic bridge, we get this. Despite the fact that the weather was terrible, boom, suddenly our hero, the weather, and our action was are legally allowed back into the sentence. It is an incredible little loophole that gives you total flexibility in your writing. And finally, Section 6, your visual cheat sheet. Okay, get your screenshot buttons ready because this is the ultimate summary of everything we've just covered today. We've navigated conjunctions, prepositions, and magic bridges. So if you ever face a fill-in-the-blank question on an exam, just treat the grammar like a simple math equation. Look right at what follows the blank. If you see a hero plus an action, your answer is going to be although or even though. If you just see a noun, a pronoun, or a verb with an ing, your answer is despite or in spite of. And hey, if you spot the magic phrase, the fact that, followed by a hero and action, you also go with despite or in spite of. Honestly, by treating this like a simple formula, it is practically impossible to fail. So I want to leave you with this provocative little thought. The very next time you're drafting an important email or sitting down to take a crucial exam, will you take just a split second to spot the hero and the action before you make your choice? I promise you, once you start looking for them, you're going to see them everywhere, and your English structure is going to be absolutely flawless. Thank you so much for joining me today for this explainer. Keep practicing, stay curious, and I'll catch you in the next one.